It's Suzanne Zacharia with Gillian Higginson, and I'm very, very excited about this interview. So, starting off, Gillian, you have a long list of impressive qualifications. Tell me more what you do.
Okay, so yes, I do. I have a long list of qualifications, which I might add, I started in my 40s, mostly. And what I found is it's never too late to study. And even to today, I am still studying. As we know, the lockdown forced us to go into a different type of working and reaching out, and that was via internet. And so I had to learn a whole new way of communicating and a whole new way of working. It took on the role of going via the internet. So what I do today is work with people on a distance basis. Now, distance may sound as if it's separated or may sound duality even, but it is really a very powerful session that connects to your innate wisdom. And the innate wisdom is the part that holds your immune system, has your functions that are automatic, like breathing, like your heart pumping. And so I connect through that and set up a communication which is specific to that particular person at that time to encourage the system as a whole, and this is through their wisdom, the system as a whole to move forward and communicate in the way that is required then, which can bring about things like deeper calm, healing, if this is a word you want to use. But I find more than ever that it's about inspiring and empowering. And I'm seeing major changes come through in the way you relate to your emotions, the way you live your life. So it really brings health and well-being in a very different way. Besides that, I am also very excited to say that since the beginning of the year, I had a very strong knowing that it was time to bring teacher trainers through for Reiki and Egyptian Sekhem in a way that I'd never approached before. And to enable them to travel their own journey, travel their own process, and be able to hold the space for students in a way that was powerful and really, really honoring of the students that you bring into your life. So I say bring into your life because I believe that all my teachers have been those people that on some level I have chosen. I chose very carefully who I connected to, what felt right, and went with that knowing that something here was of value for me. So collaborations and community are also very important to me, and I'm passionate about creating space for more learning, for more seeing that light that you are, connecting to that light that you are. And the teacher trainer classes start again in September. So I've only taken one group at a time to travel this journey, and so that I can hold the space effectively and really, really give them value to move out there and make a difference. Besides that, I have studied in the field of coaching. So these groups that we bring together, and one group that I started during lockdown was a Saturday afternoon group, which was to support people who were going through a rough time at that stage, the shock of what was happening, the fear. And this has continued to today. And whilst in those times there was no financial input, there is now, so that I can, there was a donation basis in the beginning. So whatever you could afford, or if you couldn't afford, that was also okay. But going forward, it has become a small donation. And the reason for that is so that I can contribute to other charities that are in need at this point in time. So yes, it's really a collaboration. This collaboration that comes forward with the leader and I is one of the many I feel that are starting to happen. And it's really exciting because it means that from your perspective, you're bringing forward what you know works because you've traveled that journey. And so we take what we know works and put it into a container of tools and exercises that we know can shift people to a higher level, a higher standard, for their own benefit and add value in this way.
Very good.
So
yeah, that's very good. I think it's really important for people to actually practice something to get. We are so conditioned by society to take a pill for that, do this treatment for this, that treatment for that, even though this and that may be connected. And by getting people to sort of be more aware of themselves and the various processes, emotional, physical, spiritual, then they are looking at themselves as a whole being, and they take control of their own physical, emotional, spiritual health, which I think is very important. And that is what is so sorely needed. A question I didn't think of asking you at the beginning, and I think some of our audience may be interested in that, but we briefly touched on it when we were talking before we started this interview, is these days, it's kind of pushed us into going online, and there are so many people that believe in person is the only way that they can learn, the only way that they can move forward. But that carries with it so many logistical challenges, shall we say. And we were talking together privately beforehand, and we were we were talking about how online seems to be more powerful, or at least we've experienced it as more powerful. So what would you say to people who are thinking of jumping online but they're not sure?
Okay, so from my own experience, obviously when the lockdown happened, there was no choice. I listened strongly to those guidances, to intuition, to the knowing. And it had been there. I knew it, but I had been reluctant to jump into that stage yet. And when this happened, for a moment I hesitated. And then I thought, well, I've got no option now. I have a class waiting and we cannot meet in person. And so we'll continue online. I had no idea what that was going to look like, because there are very practical experiences and learnings that we always did in person. And so we started the classes and I was blown away. I was honestly blown away by the effect of the learning from this. We then started using more distance sessions, which meant that they got to experience this firsthand. And it was powerful. And they were really impressed because they'd never done this before. And they were really impressed by what was happening and what they could see and what they could feel when they received. And so I've continued to this point to go online for classes. And the other thing is distance sessions in themselves are, I've had clients who've been with me for years who kept on coming back and wanting in-person sessions, but when they couldn't receive it anymore, they decided they would try a distance session just to see what it feels like. And they were so impressed that to date, those clients are still receiving distance sessions, and they love them because they can really see the effect. They know what it's doing to their body. They know spiritually and more deeply their lifestyle and what they are feeling and how it is impacting their health and well-being. So yeah.
Very good. I found that too. It's absolutely amazing. Absolutely. People have told me, oh, I can now give a distant Reiki healing. I'm so excited. And I said, yes, we're able to. It's good to see that in people. It's good to sort of, because when you actually can do things over a distance, even if it's something as esoteric, shall we say, as Reiki, as something that's not, that you can't quantify yet. You can't quantify yet. It's easy if it's a technique like when I do EFT and we're tapping, or when you give somebody physical, actual exercises to do and they're writing them, that's different. But when somebody's going like this with their hands and not knowing what's happening at the other end, it's kind of a little bit daunting at first. But when they get the experience of doing it, giving it and receiving it, it makes a big difference. Anyway, I got really excited when you told me about your collaboration with Alida. And what I know from you is she's an intuitive coach and family constellation practitioner. And it sounds like the perfect mix. How did you get together and what inspired this collaboration?
Okay, so when I work from a space called Eat Surf Yoga, which is a little restaurant and a yoga studio and a few therapists there as well. And that is where I work in person, if I'm working in person. And when Alida walked into the Eat Surf Yoga the first time, she was considering taking a room in the same space. And she got to chatting with me, and we instantly felt a rapport and a connection. And both knew on some level that we needed to work together, but we didn't know what that was yet. And we also didn't know each other well yet, although there was that deep connection there. So as we move forward, we noticed that we were both very passionate about inspiring women to empower themselves, inspiring and passionate about bringing in the divine feminine to everyone we worked with, and to having them find their own source of power within themselves and to carry this forward, their own connection, that understanding that they were far more than the physical element. And so our goals are very intertwined. We choose to make a difference in society. We choose to give people the tools from our experience. We both come from different backgrounds and different modalities that we've studied, and we felt that this could combine really well together to bring a platform where the different modalities could show up and connect them to that part of themselves, whatever worked best for them. And we also interconnected with various clients. We were working with clients and referred them on, and vice versa. And we noticed that they seemed to gain really huge benefit from this. So we decided that this was the time. And this was the time for us to put that out there and start the process, taking them through many different stages in each week. And this is the beginner stage. We are going to go deeper with this, so we're super excited about that. And yeah, and I'm so looking forward to starting this process with those that are signing up right now.
Wonderful, wonderful. That reminds me of when I had a clinic and I Um, it was in central London, and the people that I wanted to refer to were way outside. Well, not way outside, but they were on the outskirts. And the people that I wanted to refer wouldn't go that far. It was a value that I needed to add to what they got from me. And so we ended up doing workshops together, and that worked really well. And they got the full benefit. I was really pleased about that. So I'm so excited. So when does the program start and what's involved?
Okay, so it starts on the 31st of August, and we'll have a class, that's a Tuesday. So we'll have a class from 9 to 10 every Tuesday going forward for 9 weeks. And the class is repeated on the Thursday evening for those that would find the evenings better, and that's from 6:30 to 7:30. This is SA time, South African time, and it will be, so if you miss the Tuesday morning, say, you can join in the Thursday evening and get a sense of community, and bring together people who are looking to inspire themselves and move forward in a way that is very empowering.
Wonderful, wonderful. And so we talked a little bit about this. What impassions you about this? What drives you? What makes you smile? What do you look for in a client? For me, for example, when I'm doing an EFT session or an EFT class, I look for that moment when the client is looking for that negative emotion that they've just released. And they kind of look, where is it? Where is it? Where is it? That's what I live for. What impassions you? What drives you?
Okay, so for me, it is very much a similar thing in many ways, is when the belief that they held no longer disempowers them or limits them. And when they get up from a session, or when we're on a Zoom session, and I can see that switch in the eyes. I can see there's more calm, there's more joy, and just the peace.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. That's what keeps us going. Yeah. So, how can people get in touch with you for this life-changing program?
Okay, so I am out there on some social media platforms like LinkedIn, Instagram, and Facebook, although I'm not as active on Facebook anymore, but I am there. You can also reach me via email, which is Gilli, Gilli, Higginson, Higginson, @gmail.com, or via my website, which is www.gillianhigginson.com.
Very good. And just a reminder to people, if you want to get on this program, you have to apply now, because the 31st of August is coming up very quickly. Okay. So I'm just so excited. I know we've collaborated before, and it was just wonderful. The first time I got in touch with you, I was writing a book about Reiki, and I just wanted to get it out there. I was in South Africa, and I was working alongside with getting government approval for Reiki, which, by the way, we got news that it's still ongoing. It was still in there with a good chance. So we're just waiting until the powers that be bring it up to the top of the list to discuss. And, so fingers crossed, this time it will go through. But these things do take time. But that was when I was at the start of the process, and I just wanted more input from people about Reiki, and you gave me such fantastic input. And so now, I mean, you are the person that, because I'm not physically in Cape Town at the moment, you're the person that I refer to if somebody wanted something in person. And sometimes I'm a little bit too busy to do trainings, and so I say, contact Gillian, please contact Gillian. So trust is there. It's just so nice to meet people and do collaborations. It enriches not just our lives, but the lives of the people that we work with.
Well, it's been so inspiring to see the teacher trainers on this program at the moment. Their lives have been permanently switched, if I can put it that way.
Definitely, yeah.
They are, just the changes I've seen in them are amazing. So it's so exciting to see this really having an impact. And I just wanted to share before we move on, is that this came to me when I was with my mom, who subsequently passed. But I was doing something like walking down the passage. It was and I just had this message come in: you have to start really passing this on in a different way. So the element of the manuals, etc., are there, but it's their own, the evolving spirit that we need to nurture and nourish for them to continue this into the students, or for the students, not into the students. We all come here empowered, I feel. We're not disempowered, but it's just to recognize that and awaken it again.
Yeah.
And so it's been amazing. It really has. And I'm super excited to be doing this.
Wonderful. Gillian, thank you so much for this interview. And I'm sure if people have questions, whether on this program or for something else, they can contact you on, let me see if I got it right, www.gillianhigginson.com.
Yes, that's right.
Excellent. All right.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. Have a wonderful day further.
Thank you.
And see you later.